Alvin Elmore writes, "Hey guys, I love AMC Movie Talk. I saw an episode where John bashed the Lone Ranger movie for having Johnny Depp play an Indian, but there doesn't seem to be any outrage over Christian Bale being Moses. Moses was Middle Eastern, not a European. I love Bale as an actor, but this is just like Johnny Depp playing an Indian. I love Sigourney Weaver, but she looks nothing like an Egyptian. So my question is, why are biblical movies always whitewashed?"
Thanks a lot for the question, Alvin. I gotta disagree with you on, first of all, the starting premise, saying that, hey, taking an entire movie cast and not going with the local indigenous ethnicity of the movie cast as opposed to a situation like The Lone Ranger, these are not the same thing. These are night and day difference. Because with Johnny Depp and The Lone Ranger, you're talking about, and this was always my biggest argument, how many truly pop culturally recognized, iconic Native American characters are there? I can think of one off the top of my head. And in a movie filled with a bunch of white guys, there's the one pure, iconic, legendary character, and you gotta put Johnny Depp in it? That is the point. That is a completely different thing, I believe, than say, there's this Korean film that looked at the issue of Christopher Columbus and the settlement of North America. And guess what? The whole cast was Koreans. Of course it was. They weren't suggesting that the settlers of North America came from Korea. They weren't. It's just that they made that for their audience, and that was their actors, and they made it. I don't care. But when it comes to race in movies, I have three very key words that I don't know that I've ever said here on the show, but that kind of govern how I feel about what race plays a certain role. And these are the three words. I don't care. Michael Clark Duncan playing Kingpin, a very traditionally Caucasian, big, fat, white dude, and Michael Clark Duncan's black. I don't care, because Clark was great in it, so who cares? Perry White. I mean, for heaven's sakes, white is in his name. The traditional, the editor for Superman, he's a white character. You're putting Morpheus in there? I don't care. Memoirs of a Geisha. It's a Japanese story with a Japanese character, and you're making this Chinese actress, Zhang Ziyi. You're putting her in there? That she's Chinese? That's outrageous. I don't care. Christian Bale is European. Batman is American. Bruce Wayne is American, damn it. Superman is American, damn it. I don't care. When it comes down to it, the only thing that really matters is, do they make a good movie? And listen, the bigger issue really for the studios is going to be this, is the fact that if they make a huge multi-million-dollar epic, you can't fill it with actors that nobody in the North American audience has never heard of. I'm not saying that's the way it should be. It's probably not the way it should be, but it is the way it is. And so if a company is going to put up $150, $160, $210 million to make their epic, they are going to populate that film with actors that their movie-going audience will recognize. And that makes sense. Now, as long as they don't cross a lot of really big lines, I really don't care. So the fact that Christian Bale is European and not American like Bruce Wayne, it doesn't bother me. The fact that he's not Jewish and Israeli like Moses would have been, doesn't bother me. I just don't care. I really throw race out the window for me. As long as there's not like a key essential element to something that's going on and it breaks the spirit of it and it pulls me out of the film, then personally I don't care. And it's totally cool if you do. If it's an issue for you, I'm with you. I totally understand that, because different things will affect each of us differently. I'm just telling you that for me as an issue, it's one I really don't care about very much. Although I'm getting kind of worked up for an issue I'm claiming I don't care about much. Anyway, Dennis, how do you see something like this?
Well, in pertaining to the biblical movies, I can't really say too much. I'm not a religious person. I don't really honestly know much about the Bible, so right. I can't come on that. But as far
I'm a theology student. I can teach you everything you need to know, son.
So as far as race, though, I'm the opposite of you in that I do care. However, I do understand it's a tricky area and it's a gray area, so it's not like it has to be this way. But I do care. Like a movie, I don't know if you remember a movie 21. It was about those was it like
I'm thinking 21 grams.
No, 21. It's like those it's based on a true story book about these MIT students, I think, that basically they're counting cards. Kevin Spacey's the teacher, but apparently the entire book was like mostly all like Asians, in it. And then when they did the movie, they did have a couple Asians in it, but they weren't the main characters. It was, you know, pretty much like a white cast. In that situation where it's a kind of a low cost budget, and also the guys that they did get in the main roles, they weren't big stars anyways. So I felt like, oh, so why, you know, you could have cast Asian actors in there. So for something like that, I think something like that bothers me a little bit more. Not to the extent where I'm like, oh my God, this is an injustice or something like that. Last Airbender is something where the characters are not, they technically aren't certain races or ethnicities in it, but if you watch the animated series, you can tell where all the influences are and what, you know, a certain the tribes and, you know, the water tribe and the fire tribe and all that, what kind of Asian influences they have on it. And they
Goku in Dragon Ball Z was another one that they decided not to go with an Asian actor.
Yeah, and so, you know, kind of like whitewashing all of that. So it does bother me sometimes, but I do understand that studios want to make money, and so they're unwilling to risk it. But there are certain situations where I do see people who aren't big actors be placed in these roles. So that kind of bothers me.
Yeah, I guess like many things, there's no answer number one or answer number two. There's quite often answer number one and answer number 1,000 with 999 in between, and that's probably where we end up on this.
If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to AMC Movie News on YouTube. It's free and a great way to stay updated with all the latest movie news, and check out our daily show, AMC Movie Talk. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter to stay in the loop for our special prizes, giveaways, and contests.